Welcome to It's Not About the Hair online series. My name is Valerie Fuentes. I am your host, and today I am with Tiffany Young. She's joining us from Utah. She's the creative mind behind Thin Hair Thick, and I'm so thrilled to have her here today. I just love the mission behind Thin Hair Thick. I feel like we have aligned. We align very much in our message of women empowerment and just helping the women in this community to actually feel like themselves, right? So thank you, Tiffany, for saying yes. I'm so happy that you're here and get to know you a little bit more because I know you also have your very own hair loss story. So I would love to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. And I love your mission. So I'm happy to participate here.
Oh, thank you. So tell us about your very own story. I would love to know about you. Like, when did you start losing your hair and what brought you to where you are today?
Yeah, so for me, it's obviously a personal thing. I had experienced hair loss, at least in a noticeable form, after I had triplets. And
Wow.
so I think what happened was my hormones just went into overdrive, and I could never correct after that. Like it just never, how you get this like beautiful hair while you're pregnant and then it all falls out. And for me, that was certainly true, but it never came back. And so I would, go to the doctors, and I think on the listing, like if you had to triage hair loss in a doctor's mind, it's like really low. So the answers that you're going to get, I think the quality of the answer is also really low. They'll just tell you it's stress or hormone related or something along those lines, and then you're dismissed, and maybe here's a prescription for XYZ, and then so that's what happened with me. But I didn't want to take anything, and I really couldn't either, because I had these little babies, and so I just didn't want to be like hooked onto any sort of medicine at the time. But I still needed a solution. And so I remember going to this company. It was not like a hair club, but something similar in the Bay Area that they offered. And they did one of those biopsies of my scalp. And they're like, yeah, your root, you have miniaturization. And so I was like, okay, all right. So I've got something to go on. It actually made me feel good to have some sort of, I guess, label attached to my feeling. And then they said, what we could do is tie like 3 strands of hair onto your own hair, and it'll just give you a fuller look. And I was
Wow.
like, handle that. Like realistically, if I have miniaturization, then it's not gonna be well for what I have. Come to find out later on, it's just like a really truly classic case of androgenic alopecia. It was tipped off by a stressful event. That part is true, but it's just alopecia. And so rather than looking for the needle in the haystack answer, I just accepted it. Didn't really move on because I was still bothered that there wasn't a good solution. Like hair extensions weren't going to give me coverage on my crown or on the sides, which is where I was really thin throughout here in this area here. And so hair extensions don't cover that. And then regular toppers clip right into that area. And that's why I was like, well, how are you going to suspend something so heavy onto compromised hair? And even if your hair is not compromised, it's still, you're adding so much weight to your follicle that I just felt like I couldn't do it. But I started off down that road though. I did start with a traditional clipped topper, and I felt like $1 million in it. Like I just felt like it was amazing, even though it was not a match for me. It was like the Band-Aid that I needed. And then over time, as I saw the damage, I was like, okay, this isn't going to work long term. So I actually ended up just making my own, like honest to goodness, like scrapping pieces together. And fast forward several years, like this is super condensed version, but we are in the patent pending phase, and I work directly with my factory. We're 51% USA made, which is a huge accomplishment for me. But yeah, as far as the methodology, it's completely different, because prior to us arriving on the scene, like Thin Hair Thick, there was nothing that I found on the market that didn't rely on anchoring to your own hair or directly bonding. So the concept of having like a topper applied by using a band was novel. So, and then along the way, there have been people who obviously love the idea so much that they want to copy it. So
always happens, you know, when something good is out there, you know, you're doing well when somebody's
I'm like, oh, well, that's a compliment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, okay. On that note, I want to share a little bit about my experience too, because I transitioned to toppers and wigs just a year ago, actually, because I was wearing a hair system, and I felt like it was damaging my hair. And then when I transitioned to toppers, it was even worse. To be honest with you, I love
Worse than bonding.
Yes. I think so. I mean, the bonding did leave me. I feel. I mean, I don't know. I think I have a bigger patch like on the front,
Right.
but the now I have like the topper clip space like right here, right? Because you can rotate your clips. I mean, I've been following that. You know, some people. I haven't tried Velcro, to be honest with you. Some people use Velcro. You know, the bands or whatnot. But I was so excited to hear about this one. And what was so surprising to me is how firm it is, right? Like this one, like the topper doesn't move. It doesn't.
No, it's like it's on there. It's
amazing.
If you're wearing it, it's on there.
Yeah, with the clips, I feel like if your hair is too clean, it starts moving. If you know, like that, you have to put some kind of spray. Like there's different things that you have to do for the topper to stay on firmly, right? So that's what I loved about this one. So I just wanted to chime in on that. And then I know you guys are doing wigs as well, though, right?
So we do have a line. This is like a limited edition, like a lace top and a lace front, which they're different. This is not our main item though, but it is something that we offer because there is a progression, unfortunately, that many women have hair loss. Yeah. So we just felt like we were naturally trending in that direction already, because we'd have customers who would ask for larger bases. Because initially it was, you know, to cover the crown, the side, just to give you some volume. And then as we focus more on customer needs, we made the bases larger. And then at some point, for some customers, wigs are just easier. For me, when I first started the business, I wouldn't say I was anti-wig, but I did feel like it was over the top for me. Like, just didn't want to be encumbered like that. And it really does make a difference when you're wearing a full wig. It feels different for me. And I still can't get used to, but I can I can definitely do a topper. So, and then I think when you have kids, it's hard to be rocking a full wig. Sometimes it just feels a lot. So, yeah. But we do try to offer a spectrum. But I would say our main product is the headband topper. So,
yeah. So for me, I think I would like to wear wigs, and actually I'm trying them on right now because it's a little cooler in Miami. But come summertime, I know I won't be able to wear them. Sometimes I can't even wear a topper.
Yeah.
I've been at the beach and I took off my topper because I can't, you know, it's so hot here in Miami in the summer that it's impossible. So I can totally relate to that. The other thing I wanted to ask you is, like, because I hear you're literally the creative mind, right? Like there's a whole process behind this. Like I'm sure, you know, testing all the products. What is your favorite part about the job?
Okay. I would definitely say, well, first and foremost, I really love hearing every once in a while the stories we'll get funneled along to me, like if there were like really good stories, but well, everyone's got a good story, but I what's most gratifying is when people feel like they're at the end of their rope with hair loss and they have resolved to become like a hermit or just like withdraw socially, and then you're just able to provide them a solution. So that's huge for me, like just providing people an option. And then I would say like a close second, I love the team that I work with. I love employing like women around the world who would, I think, otherwise be underqualified for a position, because maybe they don't have like the resume to support it, but they are like amazing, like boots on the ground in different countries. And they've really just helped me to just approach the business in a different way, which has been awesome. So that's been my second like biggest highlight from this whole experience that I never anticipated. So I'd say customers, and then the people who I work with for sure.
I love that. I know what I really like about your business, that like mine, it feels like a soul driven business, right? Like there is a purpose behind it. That it's not like for yourself, right? Like it's for the greater good of everybody. So that's what I love. And like I love what you're saying. And do you mind sharing like what countries are they at right now?
Yeah, so Southeast Asia is our biggest territory, and then also South America, specifically Argentina, where I used to live. And so I've got contacts there, and then Southeast Asia, because there's so many different little countries, we just have that conglomerate, that area. But sourcing also happens in those areas too. And the reason why it's important to diversify your sourcing is because, and this might be like too much information, but I noticed that when you try to source from one country directly, they will deliver to you exactly what you want, but the way that they do it isn't ethically. And I found that out the hard way. So, and when I realized what had been done for the order to be completed, I was mortified. And so we changed gears like early on when I realized that sometimes there's not really an integrity angle when they're harvesting stuff. Mm-hmm. Then I was like, okay, then we're going to pull in a bunch of different countries, and then we won't overtap one source. So I feel like that's been a great workaround for us. And then of course, I think the best thing is offering synthetic, actually, which is a great option for many reasons. So,
right. So 2 follow-up questions on that. You mentioned at the beginning that you're 51% produced here.
Right.
So what does that mean? Can you share a little bit about the process? Because you're sourcing in other countries and then everything gets made here.
So partially made here. And then, so the process of being established as a 51% American made business means that you can source internationally. That's absolutely essential, especially for this industry. Mm-hmm. You don't see a lot of Americans who are willing to give up their hair for the process, like to obtain the raw material. But in other countries, it is pretty common and they're incentivized to do that. But yeah, you get the raw material from the countries, and then it's partially made in that area. Then it's sent here, finished off, and that's it. So it's not like, and then because of the design, the design was here in the US. So that's part of the process too, of categorizing that percentage.
So how long does it take from like sourcing to selling?
The life cycle, it depends. Because synthetic is a faster turnaround, like much faster. There's nothing to source from a human. So that's why I love synthetic. But so I would say the biggest turnaround time is maybe 4 weeks to 6 weeks. There's always falls in there though. So it just depends, if we're going through a pandemic, that could put a wrench in things.
Right. Right. So following up on the synthetics, you say you love synthetics. Why do you love synthetics?
So I didn't initially. I just felt like I was strictly in the human hair category. But actually it was through customer feedback. They requested synthetic. And so we started carrying it. And I just love it because I feel like you can do so much with it. You really can. I don't think it's a good match for everyone though, having said that. So I feel like if your hair is more textured, it's hard to find a good match. You can put a curl in there, but it just depends on your own bio texture. If you don't have like naturally straight hair, or if it isn't the kind of curl that can be replicated with a curling iron, then I think your best bet is to go with human hair, where you have a little bit more flexibility. But synthetic is just a great option where you don't have to worry about over harvesting from country, and you don't have to worry about ethical conflicts. So that's my main reason for loving synthetic. And plus the lady who I work with, I love that she has an opportunity to have work. Otherwise she wouldn't have, like, she really wouldn't have anything. So I love it for, I guess, a couple of personal reasons.
Got it. So something came up when you talked about synthetics, is that I don't know. I owe a few pieces. Like, what do we do when we want to get rid of them? Is there a can we recycle them somehow? Can we send them somewhere so they can be reused, or when they're done, they're done?
Well, yeah, so that's been a question that's been asked before, as far as environmental waste. Can it be recycled? That's not something that I've looked into. I'm not part of that. I'm not part of that cycle. I'm sure that it could be, but truly, I think there's so many recycling programs that claim to be green and ethical, when in fact your garbage is just being shipped over to Australia on a barge. So it's not, and that's a like true story, because that was a California recycling program for the longest time. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that one, because I feel like that's not my, I don't have experience in that. I would say donate it.
Right.
If it's in good condition, donate it.
Yeah. That's totally fine if you don't know the answer. I like same thing. So when I moved, I used to live in Seattle. When I moved to Miami, it blew my mind that nobody recycles here. Absolutely anything. Like,
Right.
Florida does not recycle.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Florida.
Yes, it's terrible. And that's just something that I've always had in my mind, that what do we do? But I also know there are so many women that don't have access to hair, period. So I will much rather donate it to somebody that cannot afford the hair. So, that's my best piece of advice, because I get that people have asked me about that, and I say, you can just post it on Instagram and see what hair needs hair. And I guarantee you there are a lot of women that don't even have access to hair. Like, so recently I started doing things in Spanish. I'm originally from Colombia, and I've talked to women in Colombia, and they tell me there are places that they don't have stores for this. And then, because of the exchange rate is ridiculous. Like, there is no way that they could afford like the cheapest,
Right. Yeah. Colombia, Brazil is another country, like they'd love to get a donation there, but the exchange rate is ridiculous for them. And they're just a hard country to do business with, unfortunately, but it's not for lack of need. So yeah, donation is great if someone is worried about, adding to any sort of environmental strain. Just donate it. There will be someone who wants it.
Oh, absolutely. And I wanted to ask you about the curly pieces. So do you carry curly pieces? Because that's another question that I get a lot. Where can I find a curly piece?
They go really quickly.
Okay.
So,
good.
I don't know what current inventory is right now, but we do carry it. they just go quick. But synthetic can be curled too. You just have to have a little bit of time on your hands. I'm not gonna lie. It's a process. Like you have to hold the curl in place, let it cool, and and then release it, and it'll be fine. But
I can't even manage with a human hair, to be honest with you. So yeah, there's that. It's an art, to be honest with you. For me, like even when I had a little bit of bio hair, and I couldn't. I'm not good at it. I feel like sometimes our styling tools are like weapons because I burned all like everything. So
those 3-barrel curling irons are like, yeah,
totally. Okay, well, so I wanted to know if there is any piece of advice, that you can share with us for women that are, not feeling confident with themselves, that are still maybe deciding, should I go buy the hair, should I not buy the hair? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, my thought is maybe a little bit more broader than should you buy it or not, because I feel like everyone's in a different process, and even I'd call it a grieving process. So like I found my patch, so I'm really careful not to minimize where someone is at in their process and be just like, go get the hair, girl, like just stop wasting your time. So I just think there needs to be like an emotional evolution, like let the person have their moment and not be critical of where they're at in their phase. And maybe that the end is, they'll decide to buy the hair and then they'll feel good, but maybe not. Maybe they're going to shave their head off and feel empowered by it. Mm-hmm. I've got friends in both camps, and I love that. That's their solution. I know it doesn't sound like that'd be the answer coming from me, who's got the hair company, and but I just think everyone's solution's so different. Some people need to own it in a very different way than putting something on their head, and other people need that or just need that comfort just to feel like themselves. So I guess, just let people have their own process there, and maybe it's about wearing the hair, and then maybe it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I think it definitely, they complement each other, right? Like our internal states and like working on that, working on our personal development, our personal growth, our acceptance, the grieving process, right? And I think that we have to go through that process 100% because we can get 300 wigs and you're still gonna have to take it off.
Totally.
And live with yourself. So I think that internal piece is key. For me, is the most important. But for others, it could be just, like looking the way they want to look that makes them feel like themselves. So I totally agree with that. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for being here with us. I was so thrilled to talk to you, get to know you more and your company. I actually do have one last question because I'm not sure. Do you have a brick and mortar or is it all online?
No, we're online only. I know so many people want us to be brick and mortar, and we get solicitations. We just hung up the phone with a place down in LA asking us for that territory down there. And while I'm in this phase, I'm collecting feedback. My goal is not to scale. My goal is to find a solution that works for women. And so when I'm in that phase, I'm not looking to grow, like scale to any sort of significant number. So for that reason, I don't have a brick and mortar. I don't typically, there's a couple of stylists I'll work with, but overall I do not do wholesale either. So sorry, but that's just where I'm at.
No, I had to ask because again, your customer service is so amazing that I'm assuming that a lot of people have asked you, oh, where can I go see you? Blah blah blah. So I know you're in the process of getting the patent and all the what can we expect from Thing Hair Tech for 2021? Any surprises that a sneak peek.
You know, we're working on, we just met with some great people at Walker Tape yesterday, actually. And so we've got a great synergy there. Our products complement each other now that we're doing some lace tops. And of course, our synthetic has a polyurethane rim in the front. And so if you remove that comb in the front and wanted to tape down the product onto a band as opposed to your hair, that is an option that we've just offered to select clients, but we'll roll that out more, I guess, categorically. So it's kind of fun for us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much again for everything you do. Keep going at what you're doing. Congratulations on all the, I mean, honestly, you have created from nothing, literally, from non-experience. So that is so cool. Thank you, everyone. I will see you in the next interview. Bye.